Hey, you, wherever you are in the world right now, thank you so much for being here with me. We know that we live in some volatile times, and we know that the world is changing. So let's create a bridge as we travel through one another's countries, removing all the labels and just coming together as one people, finding our home in one world. And as we do this is why our signature talk today, Bridge to Liberate the Mind, is so important. Today, I am so excited to welcome my guest speaker from India, Preethi Jain. Hi, Preethi.
Hey, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me in here.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have you with us. And for people that don't know, it's early morning in India, and here in the United States, it's evening. So this has been a coordinated effort to make sure that we can get this interview out to you guys wherever you are in the
Yes.
world listening to it. And Preeti, you have such an incredible background and such an incredible story. So I just want to give the audience a little bit about that for you. So you're a psychologist and an educationist and a mind wellness architect. Inner Insight is your mission to reach out to millions of people across the globe to help them heal and nurture their inner core through mind consciousness and as a spiritual practice. And I just love this background that you have because, especially with the way of the world, the way that everything is, I mean, you're the perfect person to speak to in regards to the children, to, the parents, the adults, the backstory that you have personally. There's a lot that you can speak to around that. And what I'd like to do, if it's okay, is just have you start with some of that personal journey that brought you to where you are today. And we'll just kind of talk through that.
Sure, Catherine. I'm all in for this. And because I do support your vision in this journey too, I think you're doing an amazing job by, letting this reach out to the people out there who could resonate with this and make, some shift and difference in their own life too. So yeah, so I will just tell you, kind of a background to my entire mission. So I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder in 2012. Uh, and the reason to that was I had a traumatic marriage of 18 years. And it was very painful, very disturbing, and it had a lot of it brought in with it a lot of disturbance in my mind and instability, and I landed in depression and hysteria. So I used to get hysteric attacks, and I wouldn't know uh, where I would be heading to and what I'm doing and what I'm speaking. So this was a kind of mental ill health which I was suffering for a while, almost say a year and a half to 2 years. So, so the backstory, as I said, to this was my uh, marriage, which of 18 years, which I finally decided to call off. And But then, by then, the things had already accumulated inside me so deeply that it kind of burst like a volcano, and it disrupted out, and this is where I landed in my own unawares, and I lost myself to my mental ill health. And people who suffered along with me were my children and my parents and my immediate family, that is my siblings and everybody. So it was such a dark phase, and I was absolutely uh, gripped by, as if I was being controlled by something else. And during that phase, I tried to take away my life 2 to 3 times, and it never happened, of course, because I mean, whatever reasons, it never happened. But then I think now when I go back and think that it never happened because there was a purpose to life. And there was an inner purpose, which probably at that point of time, obviously I did not know because I was never in that moment. I was, as if I was living some other kind of a life. And it was much later when I started healing. And that journey was again, you know, extremely beautiful. I had amazing experiences when I started healing,
Yeah.
and that was like a rebirth because, and I owe it to my therapist. And I started going to her for sessions, and she helped me to recoup. And also I was guided by spirituality, and I would do these practices which I was guided by through my spiritual masters at that point of time. And
Yeah,
I
if I can, I'm
yeah
gonna, because I want to talk about that piece too, but I also want to
yes
talk about, where this started for you. So you had shared, and I know the audio was a little delayed in a couple sections, so I just wanted to catch the audience up. But you had shared that for a year and a half to 2 years that you were going through this depression, and you were really feeling outside of yourself as far as what you were experiencing. And I think there's a lot of people that are listening in the audience that can relate to this, this kind of feeling that you were experiencing. And as you're talking through this, you had talked about you attempted to take your life a couple of times. And I can't even imagine, the place that you were in such a dark place that you felt that that was something, you wanted to do. And I would encourage anyone who's listening to this that may be suicidal to please reach out to get medical support and reach out to people in your community, in your, area of the world that work specifically with people that are suicidal. So I just want to make sure that I stick that in there. But what I really like that you said is that you had gone from this space and you looked for that kind of support. And that kind of support was with your therapist and through counseling. And you had, sought a higher power. So if we could, I know, you also had your children as well. So that was another thing. And this is what makes your conversation with me today so special, because you do understand, the impact being a mom, being, having the children involved as well. If you could just, take us back a little bit, like in that moment, how difficult was it for you to go and seek that help? And, where were you in that space?
Oh, well, yes, and this is something I also want to convey to the listeners that, yes, as you said, don't stop yourself from seeking help. And the moment I mean, in your gut, you always know that things are not okay. You always know, however deep in depression or you are away from your inner self, you still know, everybody does know that they are not all right, and just go for the help. And this is exactly what I did. Uh, I was a single mom by then, so I had to take care of kids. Yeah, they were in their teens, so it kind of became, it was challenging, yet it was supportive because they did understand to certain extent what I was going through. Especially my daughter has been a huge support in this entire journey. In fact, it was as if we had reversed the roles, and she had become the mom and I had become the daughter for some time. She was taking care of me so beautifully, and I owe it to her for having gone through that. These are, again, I say, these are all the laws of the universe, the laws of the karma. And when your daughter is almost taking the role of your mom, and it's some kind of uh, you know shift in the universal law. So it all was there, and I knew inside me that yes, I needed help because I so badly wanted to get out of it. I felt like I was being caged. I was in a cage. I wanted to just break the shackles and be out of it. That was the kind of feeling. So I did reach out to the psychiatrist, and then I was, again, the psychiatrist again guided me to this particular therapist, and then the journey began from there. And after every session, I felt as if I was, I had started getting free a little by little in steps. So each session with the therapist gave me a new feeling. How do I explain this? It was like as if, some layer was getting off me. Something was being taken away from me. So that's the kind of magic that therapies did to me. And uh, of course, there were many other areas where I was supported. I had some amazing friends. I had some, the amazing guidance of my spiritual masters, if I could just So I was not very meditative at that point. It was not possible for me to meditate because I had no concentration, absolutely. So, but then I could listen, and the words, when I was listening to them, I could soak in those words. It was getting in me. It was going inside me. So it was just the listening of what I was listening to was somewhere going into my subconscious, and that is it. I did not do anything different at that point of time to practice spirituality. I would just listen
Were you
and allow
spiritual
it to be there.
before? Yeah, were you spiritual before? Is that something that you had learned
Yeah,
with your therapy?
yeah. No, I was spiritual before. I was
Okay.
spiritual somewhere before that also. And with the therapies, I started listening more. I could relate uh, whatever I was learning through the spiritual talks. I could relate that to the sessions, and that was an amazing combination, which I also now I'm when in my platform Inner Insight, I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to bring about a beautiful combination of psychology and spirituality, because it's a science which is the eternal truth.
Yeah. Now, when you were going through this process, I mean, you talk about the stripping away of layers, like you had these layers that were coming off, and it's almost like, you were uncovering this new part of you, right? There was this new part
Yeah.
of you that was being exposed, and for somebody listening who hasn't been through that, that could sound pretty frightening. Like, were you scared? Were you afraid of that?
No, no, not at all. In fact, it was a very comforting feeling. It was beautiful because what was coming out was what was being taken off was negativity. It was the
Okay.
negative part or the negative mind of me which was getting released. So when you are getting off the negativity, you can never feel frightened. Nobody can feel frightened. You're going to feel amazing because then you're getting more closer to your soul.
Yeah, I love that. And I think in this way of the world right now, there's just so much negativity that is surrounding so many. And a lot of it is coming from our news, the social media, just hearing stories from people that we associate with. There's a lot of negativity. And, just knowing that, like, what are some tools that people can use today to just help them with those things that are, forces that are negative forces that are projected towards them, and how do you release some of that?
Yeah, that's an amazing question because that's so much more needed now, especially during this phase. Uh, I definitely would vouch for people to get be their conscious self, if they can be their authentic self, especially parents, if parents have this consciousness of being authentic and being more to their own inner core, rather than being what the world wants them to be. Because I mean, what happens is, as a conditioning, from when a baby is, like, born, I mean, as an infant, it's everything about the outside. It's the world. Literally everything is being shaped and conditioned by others. So we, in a process, after a while, we are losing touch with our own inner cores. So this is the most wanted thing now, that people should, especially when there is so much of negativity in the, as you said, in the through the media, through the world, and yes, people everywhere around us, you will find a lot of negativity rather than the positive vibes. So you need to, people need to be conscious enough to build a kind of shield around them, and not allow those negativity, the vibes rather, to touch them. And it's so important to teach these things even to the children, because they, if as children, when you are instilling consciousness in them and awareness in them about themselves, they will not succumb so much to the world. They will listen to their inner voice, and the inner voice always speaks the truth. And the best part is, I mean, when you listen to that inner voice, you are yourself, because that is where you are. So
Right.
I would definitely say, yes, it is a little difficult, because everybody has started running out. Nobody wants to go within. So rather than looking so much outward, start looking within. When you look within, you're more conscious, you're more in your present, and you're more aware of what you're going to say, do, and think and feel. So
Yeah.
these things are ultimately going to make your, things more um, serene, more soulful. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
couldn't agree more that really everything is about that inner part of you, that inner space within yourself, like you share. And it's such a beautiful, peaceful place if you can allow yourself to get that kind of serenity. But again, you have to shield out this stuff that's outside of you and protect yourself from it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I don't know about, where you are in India, but I can say that here in the United States, there is a lot of stress that parents are experiencing with their children, because all of the children, the way that they're going to school looks different. It looks different from one place to another to another. And it's just incredible the amount of stress. And I have a very close friend that has, school age children. And she was sharing with me over the weekend that it seems like things are constantly changing as far as what they're doing with the kids. So, on one hand, the kids are being forced to be really flexible with the changes, but that doesn't work for all kids, because there are kids that they do need that kind of planning. They need to know what is happening. They need to be informed. They need to be told, that this is what's happening, and not just, like in the last minute kind of thing. So, I mean, how do you suggest parents work through this with the kids? Because the parents are stressed, the kids are stressed. What can they do?
uh, the first thing that anybody needs to do in this is, whether, okay, parents or uh, couples or anybody who are the uh, pioneers to the kids, need to understand that they need to be real. And when I say real, I mean to say authentic in the sense of, uh, it's not about going outside. Again, it's about going inwards. So when parents are going to be stressed, it's but obvious that children are going to carry on the same thing. So parents firstly need to be conscious enough to not let get captured by stress. Stress can be beaten. Stress is non-existential when you don't let it be there. So you just need to, parents need to just take away the things that are not required, that are not needed in their life, in which gives them the stress. And when they are going to have a non-complicated life, they are going to pass on the same to the children. So if they have this particular challenge, say if they in this present moment, most people are facing challenges with their jobs, which is a factual thing at the moment. So
Yeah.
if the parent is going to carry on with this kind of challenge and let it take over, basically let it take over them, and give it that kind of a space that, oh my god, what's going to happen if I don't have a job, or how am I going to do this? And that sort of a dialogue within the mind is going to manifest into more negativity. That kind of a self dialogue is really difficult, where it is going to pass on to children for sure. And it's, I would rather that you change the scenario by changing the dialogue in your mind. The moment your dialogue in your mind changes, the outside starts changing. And you say, okay, this is there for this moment, but it's going to be fine. I'm going to be in a good space very soon. And things start changing much better. And children are more relaxed in that kind of an atmosphere. So it is a time where everybody is facing a challenge. Everybody seems to be working from home and online. And so there is a lot more of screen time, which can get stressful. So it would be beautiful if the family, if the parents and children together sit and have some conversations, have some kind of, time where they are spending together for holistic activities, and that way they can beat the so-called stress. I always say that stress is built, it is not there. We build it up. So it's consciously, it can be like evaded. It can just be, it can just be removed if you're conscious enough, and if you know how to have a proper dialogue with your own mind. So that's where things lie.
Yeah, and you had mentioned earlier about the jobs and how people's financial well-being has been greatly impacted during this
Yes.
period of time. And I think that's something that's really difficult as well for people,
Yes.
especially like, when you're a parent and you have young children and you're trying to carry on your job responsibilities, but then you're finding yourself also carrying on taking care of children that are literally homeschooling because they're doing
Absolutely.
the Zoom meetings with school, and then the schedules are all different. They're not, literally going to school, so they're half at school and half home, or maybe they're just home all the time. I mean, there's so many different scenarios, and I know for a lot of parents, part of the stress is handling this new situation with the kids, but then also juggling the other side of what it is that they need to do. So going inward and, creating that space, I think it's hard for people because they're just split in so many directions that it makes it hard for people. And I don't know how you kind of pull back on some of that. I know for some parents, they are allowing more screen time, whether it's the television or gaming or things like that. Um, and I see a lot of parents with challenges around that because that's not what they want to do, but they almost feel like they're forced to do it because it's a way to occupy the children.
Yes, that is the truth again, because I, being an educationist, I do keep having conversations almost through the day with parents, and they do express how helpless they feel. Apart from the normal screen time at school, like, currently the schools are all online. So apart from that, they don't know how to occupy children. They don't know how to keep them away from the extra screen time by not gaming or by not watching the television. So there are, these challenges are there. So exactly why I'm again bringing it back to parenting, because when, as a conscious parent, if you're able to build a platform of, or just kind of have a different time, where you're going to do something more interesting, indulge in something more interesting, so that your child is weaning away from the extra screen time other than the school hours. So again, that calls for some, as you said, I do agree with all the existing challenges outside, job challenges, financial issues and whatever. And many people are even going, I mean, they're ripping in their relationships too, because they are staying, they've been staying in a boundary for a while. And so there are these challenges, yet for every challenge, the solution may not be there outside, may not be there. That is the truth. I myself been in the space now, and I'm experiencing with the kind of changes in, like, our pay. The pay has reduced, say, to almost 50%. And but the commitments have not changed, expenses have not changed, and the work hours are even more. So we're giving a lot more than what we're getting. But when you are in acceptance, when you, again, it's all in the mind, when we are in a mode of acceptance, that okay, this too shall pass. Right now this is a challenge, let us accept it and flow with it. It's just to simplify the way you look at it, is what I feel changes a lot of things for people. It's how you look at it. If you're going to give it that weightage and that importance and say, okay, oh my God, what am I going to do? This, that, and if this doesn't happen, this will not happen. So we are all living in anxiety by living in the next moment.
Right.
So it is much easier. You're in a much safer space when you're living here and now.
Right.
What is here and now is what we need to think about. Why do we need to worry about what's going to happen next? We need to plan, but we don't need to worry for that. Planning is different from worrying.
Yes, and I agree. Planning is different than worrying. And I think it's such a special time because it actually, not only is it doing, this inwardness for the adults, but I think it's also a really great opportunity to teach young children how to go inward, how to operate from that
Absolutely.
space instead of being from an outward space, use their inward, presence that they have within themselves. Because as human beings, we all have that, but it's a matter of tapping into it. And I think that's hard for a lot of adults because a lot of adults are so congested with other information or traumas or whatever it is that their life has been, that they're confused or feeling a sense of loss on how to tap into it. So when you were in your therapy, you had talked about the spirituality, the meditation, these kinds of things. I mean, are those things that you would suggest to adults that are trying to tap into this? Is that something you would suggest, or would it be something different?
Uh, Definitely. I definitely suggest meditations and mindfulness. And when we say meditation, it is different for different people. So each one can do it in their own way. Meditation is being in one space aligned to your mind, body, and soul. So when you are doing that, you can do it in whatever way you, uh, I mean, can relate to. So it's not always about just sitting with your eyes closed. Well, that's the way to meditate, but you can do a meditation for a person who enjoys singing. The singing is meditation. If a person enjoys reading, the reading becomes meditation. There are people who enjoy cooking, and even that can be in meditation, because that's the time when you can sync your mind with your body and soul, where you're not thinking about anything else other than what you're doing. So your doing becomes your being when you're in that meditative mode. So, like, for example, when I can tell this for sure about me. If I'm in a classroom with children, for me that becomes a meditation, because I'm not thinking about anything else at that point. I'm not, nothing can grip my mind. So being with children in a classroom, if, when I do enter the classrooms, and for me, that is a meditative space. And these, that's whatever you are able to do without allowing another kind of interference in your mind, that becomes meditation, and which you can connect with at your soul level.
That is really beautiful,
So
because I think for
yeah.
most people, they almost feel like they have to be sitting on a yoga mat. They have to have their hands a certain way. They need to they need to do it like, this one way. And I don't think that that's it at all. So I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I just really have so much gratitude for you sharing that, because I just know for most people, they don't, when they hear meditation, they almost like, oh, they cringe because they're
Yeah,
not
exactly.
sure, right?
Yeah, exactly, Catherine. We need to kind of let people understand that meditation is not about sitting on a yoga mat with your eyes closed and your hands up there, facing the sky, and you are into. I mean, no, that's the time you'll get a whole lot of thoughts.
Right.
You will be, you're going to be barraged with thoughts.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. You've got to be into some space where you feel your mind is connected with your body and your soul. So for a sports person, like for an athlete, the the doing the athletics or running on a track is meditation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Now, what do parents do with their kids though? So like, I mean, some kids I can imagine, the act of coloring, like drawing in and coloring in, that could be very meditative for them, and actually very healing for them as well, because they're
Yes,
expressing and they're getting some of that out.
yes,
And there's a lot
yes.
of grief in the world right now. So just allowing them to get some of that grief of not being able to attend school and be with their friends and do those things. But I mean, would you encourage parents, if there's something that your child really enjoys, allow them to have that space, because that's healing them?
Exactly. So that inward journey the child experiences is what takes away the other challenges from within. And if there is any pain, if there is any kind of setback in the mind or whatever, so expression is a form of letting go. Expression is a form of healing, and it can be done in multiple ways for different people. It is different. So it could be writing, it could be drawing, it could be painting, coloring, whatever. But yes, but art definitely is is one of the beautiful ways to letting go. And when I talk about letting go, I can feel so much of serenity inside me, because when even just the words, when you say let go, it makes you feel, oh my God, I've lost a few grams in my body. It makes you feel lighter.
Yes.
So it's a different thing for different people. And in kids, it has to be, again, they, whatever gives them that meditative space is what they should be doing. And definitely, uh, if you give children the choice, they'll say, yeah, I'm very meditative with my gadgets and I'm playing my video games. But then yeah, we need to draw the lines there, and that's taking them away from themselves. Whatever brings you into yourself is what it is all about, and parents can identify those kind of things with children, and let them be in that inner space. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's so special. I mean, it also creates an opportunity for parents to bond with their children too. And I wonder
Yes.
too, how much you can really involve your kids in just getting them involved in some decision making, because things have changed so much. So maybe
Yeah.
just getting some of their input where they have a voice and, you can empower them, I think is probably something that's very special, to create more of a relationship with your child as well.
Totally, I agree with that point too. And I very often I tell parents, and I did this myself with my children, that when I had certain limitations, where I when it came to providing things, I used to discuss with them, and I said, okay, let's sit across and make our budgeting. Let's talk about this, and you guys are going to help me figure out how we're going to do this. And even now, when I do the same thing, and I have my son and daughter, and then they say, okay, mom, you're not too good with finances, let us handle this. So it's come to that kind of a stage now, and they say, no, you're not too good because you don't even know where your money is going. You better give it to us, we will handle it. So, and they are very, very smart, this generation is, when it comes to handling these things. So involve your children, make them get into that sense of responsibility, that okay, these are my numbers, these are the things. I mean, they would love it. I mean, they would just love being a part of all this, because
Yeah.
it makes them feel big and responsible. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
I
it's a
think if
very
your
good
child
time,
is like, if your child's 10 or 13, I don't know if you're going to let them handle your finances, but if they're much older, I can
No,
understand
no.
that.
If they are much older, yes, but then you can still allow them to be a part of your decisions, and say, okay, you have a dialogue with them, and you say, okay, this is it, and now how we need to see. It's we undermine these things with children. We ask When we ask them questions, we do get solutions. So
Hmm.
it's, you don't need to let them handle your finances, but you can ask them for solutions, and they come up with beautiful solutions.
They
I always
do.
see that. I mean, children have an amazing sense of judgment. They know, and especially this particular generation, every generation is coming with its own shift in their mind and the way of looking at things. And I see that they are a lot more balanced. They know how to
Mm.
do certain things very well. And I think there's no harm in taking their suggestions. At least that's what you can do if it is they are younger kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And when you were going through your healing journey, did you
Yes.
do anything special that was helpful for you besides meditation? I mean, was it was it something that, like, maybe you went out for a walk every day, or maybe you changed your diet,
Hmm.
maybe, I don't know, like, what was
Hmm.
some things that worked for you?
Yes, absolutely. I have been doing yoga for many years now, and that I did, that helped me immensely. It's just helped me immensely to bring a balance in my mind and in my body.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the things that I used to do, uh, very diligently. I used to do it, and I still do. And maybe whenever I found time and the opportunity, I would go on a, I would love to go on drives. So at that point of time, yes, but then I was not very okay sometimes to do it. But then if somebody could take me on a long drive, and I would just love it, that sort of a thing. So I did involve myself in small little things which gave me that, what do you say, that buzz moment. There
Mm-hmm.
was this buzz moment I would always create for myself. So along with the healing, these small little buzz moments helped me a lot. And those buzz moments, I would say each one can plan and decide for themselves. You create your own buzz moment. For everybody, it's different. For me, even having a cup of coffee when I wake up in the morning, I mean, tea, coffee, whatever, in my bed, cozily, is a buzz moment. So anything, I used to do many of these small little things, which gave me a lot of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is I consciously took away all those memories which were actually causing me this pain. One day, I took all those, uh, when I say memories, I mean to say the memories associated with photographs, with gifts, all those kind of things. I took them all and I just burnt them one
Mm.
day. That was one of the things I did, because I just burnt them, and I felt so good seeing everything going into ashes.
Mm-hmm.
So I would decide randomly, I want to do this. This is going to give me happiness. This is going to make me feel better. And I used to do a whole lot of things to heal myself apart from the therapies, which were all these things. Or maybe just go out like with kids on a, for a late night movie and say, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Why am I getting stuck in something else? It is so nice to be here. And now and we're watching a movie with kids. And I mean, so life is not over.
Right, right.
You need to
And
keep reminding yourself life is not over. It's just the
yeah,
beginning.
and I like that term, the buzz moments. It's it definitely gives you this sense like, okay, I'm in this moment and I have a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, and it
Yes,
feels good, right? It feels good. But then the flip side of getting rid of all of those negative memories and like physically removing them out of your space, physically detaching from them. For you, I know you burn them, but like, I think there's part of the healing process is just that letting go. It's just for some people,
absolutely.
I think, it may be, yes, you put it into a fire and it's that symbolic burning and letting it go. But then there's other things that may be bigger and useful. So at least in that moment, you can say, it served its purpose, and I'm releasing this, and maybe let somebody else have it that can use it, and it will be enjoyed by them, but you have at least detached from it. And I think
Yes.
that's so healing in so many ways.
Absolutely. And also, I would like to add a very impactful thing that I did at that point was forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to forgive. And I consciously, uh, you know, I consciously made that effort to forgive, because that was the only way I could let go. When I
and
had
who
started forgiving, yes,
and who
it
did you
became
forgive?
lot more. Sorry,
Who did you
I
forgive?
didn't get you.
Who did you forgive?
Okay, the relationships that I've been talking about, So whichever caused me the pain, for whatever negativity had come in those uh, n number of years, uh, for all the pain in every way whatsoever, which I had built up inside my mind and kept it as if it was a treasure. So then I let go by forgiving
Yeah.
and saying that, okay, this person also has been in a journey. Today, I end my accounts, my karmic account with this person by forgiving and letting go. And I'm going to move on. And trust me, this conscious effort of forgiving completely, it ended all my pains.
Mm-hmm.
It became like I did not have the pains after that, after a period of time of forgiving. It took me a while, like, okay, I would say if I counted in days, it would be about 2-3 weeks of continuous meditation, forgiveness. I would do it in my meditations. And when I was forgiving, I also realized another thing, that I should forgive myself too.
Mm-hmm.
Other than just not just that person, I need to forgive myself, because I have been building the pain. I have been giving myself, my soul, a lot of pain too. So I forgave myself, I forgave everybody associated with whatever had happened in those 18 years. And I felt free. I felt as if I was out of the cage.
Yeah.
So this is
And
something which anybody who is carrying on with them some kind of pain, which because of which they are in depression, let go and forgive, because nothing is important other than your own self.
they say that forgiveness is a gift that you give yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes. And
Absolutely.
I think that's beautiful that you were able to do that. And I mean, today you're doing these amazing things. I mean, we started this conversation right out of the gate. You talked about being diagnosed as bipolar, or this diagnosis that you had, and now it's like your whole life has changed. Your whole life has shifted, and it's just
Completely.
completely different. And that has to feel so incredible.
Absolutely. And the people who saw me then and who see me now are like, oh my God, seriously? I mean, they have this kind of a reaction, my friends who were a witness to me at that point and who see me now. And they see me, they are actually, because with Through Inner Insight, I'm on all the social media platforms. So they know what I'm doing. They know the videos that I post in the podcasts and whatever I do in the writing and the codes, everything. So they say, are you the same person? Oh my God, it's so unbelievable. And I say, okay, no, I was reborn in 2015.
uh, well, I think, as you said earlier, just
Yeah,
shedding your
I
skin and
authentically
just,
am reborn.
just changing the outlook on life, and just, allowing yourself to go through this process has just completely changed your life, right? Like all that healing work that you've been
Yes,
doing. And there's just so
yes,
many things that you talked about that are just so amazing, as far as getting a grip on being the self that you are today. And it's beautiful. I think, for the audience, one of the things, when Preeti and I were talking offline, like, it was just abundantly clear we needed to work together in this episode, because the gifts that you have from your journey. I mean, you went from this really dark space in your life where you were in this dysfunctional, emotional, toxic relationship, and then moving your way through that and then getting to this other side. I mean, anybody that's listening and anybody that may be in that space, I mean, you provide so much inspiration and so much hope. And even in, in times like these, like you said, this too shall pass. This is a moment in time, and this too shall pass. But again, for our audience, if anyone at all is feeling suicidal, please, please, please reach out to your team of support people, whoever they may be in your community, and do get that guidance. And if you're struggling inwardly and you're not sure and you think you might need that support, then again, reach out and get some help for that. But I really have so much gratitude, Preeti, for you going into this confined space that people do have a hard time talking about. And I just feel that, a lot of the tools that you had offered for parents with children and, some of the guidance that you provided has just been so really impactful and powerful. Is there any other tools or anything else that you can offer to the people around the world that are going through this time?
Sure, Catherine. I can see and sense that the world right now is looking out for abundance. Everybody wants to be in that space of abundance at this point of time, uh, whether it is abundance in health, finances, love, feeling secure, everything. So I would like everybody to just understand and be in faith that everything that you are looking for is already inside you. It is all already there. You are having it all inside you. It is just that you have certain blocks but you're not able to reach it out. So take away those blocks in a conscious way and reach out to what is already with you, and what you are looking for outside is really not outside. It is within you.
Yeah.
So please be in mind consciousness and in the space of healing, because yes, there can be on a day-to-day basis, there can be issues, there can be uh, dialogues with other people or anything that can leave you kind of bruised. So if you are able to constantly keep healing yourself by letting go and not taking anything seriously which is coming your way, the only thing that you need to understand is life is here within you and now, and live it. Just live life, and don't really be giving into other things which is outside of you. So get all that you want from within you. It's like you have it all there and you're looking outside. Yes. So
That's
that's what
so,
I need. I wish people could create that kind of sense of being in themselves so that they can manifest whatever they are looking out for.
yeah, that's
I
so,
so
so
much
true.
believe in that. Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
true. I couldn't have said any better. But I do want to ask you, and I agree with you. I think, everything is within you. You have the power to unlock all of it. It's
Yes.
just, going
Yeah.
inward to get that.
Mhm.
But I do want to ask you, so if I were to find your earth angel feather on the ground and I were to pick it up, what would your message to the world be?
Okay. Um, I would say that the message that I would definitely say is, if you're born as a human, there is definitely a reason to it. And there is something that you can do as being born as a human, which none of the other species in this world can do. So find that strength within you, find the space and strength, and build it up from there. And that's the only reason you're born as a human, and just get there. Just get there. Because every person being born as a human has an opportunity to get over everything else, and that's why you're there. So understand that purpose and live life like it is the most beautiful thing ever. The life that has been given to us is a gift of God, but the way we live our life is our return gift to God. So this is the only thing I can, I strongly believe in that.
That is so beautiful. It really is. And I love what you said at the end. The way we live is a return gift. I mean, it's so powerful. And I just, again, thank you so, so much for being here with me and just getting your message out to the world, because I know it's so needed right now. And again, just thank you for going into some uncomfortable spaces. I know that's not easy. So I'm just filled with gratitude, and, just, I wish I could wrap my arms around you from the United States to India.
Yes, we're going to give a virtual hug.
Yes, a virtual hug.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Yeah, and Catherine, you gave me this opportunity, which is, again, I tell you, these are manifestations. And as I said, I've been manifesting to reach out globally. So when I get connected with people from across different countries, so this only proves that I'm able to turn my manifestation into reality. So I am extremely grateful to you for having me in this space and making it all happen. So amazing! It's been an amazing thing, and I think you are. You're an amazing person. You brought it out from me so easily, so comfortably. I was amazingly comfortable. I had no problem at all.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you. So thank you again so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And if there was any audio glitches, that's just because we're traveling around the world right now. So it's okay.
Yeah.
But thank you. And for our audience, Preeti's in India and I'm in the United States, and she's in early morning and I'm in late evening. But what's beautiful for the listeners is that she has this beautiful white light that's just surrounding her and looks like very heavenly. So it's really a beautiful sight. But with that, I just want to say, I have so much gratitude and thank you again. So that's all we have time for today. And this is Catherine Daniels reminding you to live your authentic life with peace. And as always, retreat to peace. And we'll see you next time.